Alright guys, don't have a lot of time, so I want to get into this video real quick. Today I'm looking at the character of Thomas Shelby, okay? He's a very, very powerful character with a lot of great presence in the show Peaky Blinders, okay? Peaky Blinders is about basically a criminal organization. It's very, very powerful to see the character of the lovable gangster, okay? Gangster. Season 1 writing is absolutely phenomenal. I think I enjoyed season 1. I don't think I watched that much later into the later seasons, but wow, like my mind is blown at that scene with I think it was Grace, the character's name was, and he's in church, and then he kind of spots out Grace's lies, and she's about to leave and thinking, oh, this is not an job interview, this is an interrogation. This is an interrogation. She gets up, and he's so commanding with his presence. He just simply says, sit down.
You're very perceptive.
First you lied to me about that pub you used to work in. Now I find out you're a Protestant.
Do you care?
No.
I like to fit in.
You pull a pint like someone who's thinking about it.
This isn't an interview, this is an interrogation.
Sit down. Look, Grace. You're washed up in a place you don't belong, for whatever reason. My good fortune.
And perhaps mine.
You know that most of what I do is illegal,
I'm not blind.
and yet you'd still be willing to work for me.
Are you offering me the job? Then I accept.
There's something else you should know. A very important detail about my reasons for employing you.
You disappoint me.
Do you resign?
No. My appetite for the work has only increased.
Sit down. It's such a powerful scene where she complies. And then, obviously, I'm kind of paraphrasing this next scene, but basically, because there's another reason why I want you to have the job or something like this, right? And then kind of makes out with her, kisses her. And I think that's such a powerful scene because he is establishing such a powerful aura in that moment. First of all, he's calling her out for all her nonsense. Secondly, he's leading the conversation very well. Number 3, he's in a position of power where he can give her a job.
Number 4, he's tapped into the zone, man.
This is why I'm attracted to this character in terms of what it can bring to the table in terms of flow state. Because Thomas Shelby is the type of character, you always find him in the zone, right? He's always in his element. And it seems like he never really breaks character. It's very empowering to know that he's this, you know, bad boy, good heart, bad boy, good heart. I had like a song like that back in the day, I think. How he thinks family is strength and family is important, and he's also incredibly intelligent, right? Sharp. His mind is sharp. He knows how to get what he wants. You guys get that? Like, he knows exactly how he's gonna get to the finish line. If it doesn't work some way, he'll find another way. Okay, he's just that committed and determined, and some would say even ambitious. He embodies this survival, safety, alliance, and conquest and leadership that I think that a lot of women watching will be very turned on by the fact that he's actually in that frequency. And yes, he's a very hyper-masculine type of character. Yes, there are flaws to his character. He's an anti-hero, you know, he has drinking problem. You know, a bunch of spoilers there, but in any sense, like, you got to understand the man's presence, okay, and his eye contact, which is legendary. His eye contact, I think, is on a different level. It speaks volumes when he stares at a character in that show, right? Also very, very self-assured. Like, he knows himself inside and out, it seems like. At least that's what his character seems like from the outside. And he's always calculating things, always strategizing, always thinking. He's in his thinking mind. But he always has this aura, this commanding aura, this authoritarian. Like, you'll notice that he lifts his chin up a little bit when he's talking to people. Like, usually you'd think that that's kind of like a snobby thing to do, right? But when he does it, it looks badass. You know, why is that? There's a specific persona that fits him and his trope and how he's coming across, right? Is very versatile in terms of rubbing shoulders with, you know, royalty as well as the lower class. He can really fine tune and go through all the crevices of, you know, London at the time and figure things out and maintain his alliances with his family and the other characters in it. And I remember there was this one scene where, you know, he had a gun pointed to his head, and he was just calm as a breeze, you know? He just like, it's not even happening right now. Like, that's how he acted, right? Now, if we can have that level of level-headedness during that, you will understand how to embody this frequency. Because let's say your computer crashes, you have a presentation to give, and it's completely gone, right? In that moment, you're gonna have to be sharp, quick-witted, bring up your notes somehow, find a charger somehow. Like, you gotta know, right, how to do it. If you're tapping into Thomas Shelby energy, you're like, I'm gonna improvise this, I'm gonna still perform, I'm gonna get the job done. And that's a powerful mentality, I think, to have, not only as a man, but just as a person, like getting things done, like being determined, being committed to something. And you know, when he enters a room, you'll notice that everybody kind of notices his presence or his aura. Like, he's established already social connections from before, it seems like. So he's almost like his type of social interaction is like he's just dropping pins. And I spoke about this earlier, where you drop a pin in one person and they understand that pin. And then you drop another location of a pin somewhere else, completely on the other side of town. But now, as you keep dropping more and more pins, you're basically taking over that entire town or that entire, you know, social circle, in a sense. Okay, that venue or that place or that city or that town, as you keep visiting more and more places, right? And knowing certain important pieces of the chess piece, in a sense, of how everything goes down, like knowing the connections with the police, knowing that there's connections with the politicians and things like that. You wanting to be a politician really shows you his leadership. He shows vulnerability many times. Okay, this is something that I really noticed in his character specifically. He shows a lot of vulnerability. And it isn't this vulnerability that you think that he's like weak or whatever, but that little chink of, like, that little crack of the armor that you get, that little imperfection that you get with the sharp, you know, three-piece suit, looking fly, looking stylish, right? I was gonna say Shonak in his wedding, my cousin's sister's wedding, he looked a little bit like Peaky Blinders, I told him. Three-piece suit has been so, you know, on the dot in terms of this stuff. He's stoic, he's ruthless, he's intelligent, he's calculating, he's ambitious. He's also found a way to turn his trauma into triumph, right? So all the trauma that he's lived with, especially after World War I, is basically establishing the fact that he was unafraid of death. So this man seems to be fearless. I think somewhere else he's talking about, you know, the character being in the mines or something, and that you could die at any time, right? But being a gangster, you can die at any time, like literally. And you have to really embody that role and that understanding that, you know, it's just another day. Okay, I could die today. That gives you a certain level of alertness, I think. And as he's walking with Grace through the environments and stuff, you see him like kind of looking around and making sure that everything is set, she's safe. It's like, you know, things are going Okay? I don't think anything can knock him off his flow. Maybe whiskey, you know, that's about it. But this non-reactive eye contact, this ability to stay in your own lane, stay in your own reality. He speaks in a very particular pace if you really listen to him, okay? There's a very kind of like a cadence to his delivery that makes you feel, whoa, this man is something else. He's a glitch in the matrix, right? He's a sigma male in a sense rather than an alpha male. Like, you get the qualities of that introverted alpha from him because he's very reserved and in his own world, but then he also like opens up this can of worms, and he has this dangerousness that permeates his beingness too. He has this mentality of like, trust no one until they earn my trust. And that's why you see his loyalty is like really powerful, right? He really believes in the power of loyalty. He almost had this menacing look to him, even though he's fashionable at the same time. So he has a razor blade sewn to his cap, you know. And notice all his relationships with the other characters, right? They take time to actually develop. Of course, it's a show, right? They're going through time. But it's very important to understand that this man definitely understood something about staying in his own reality, staying in his own zone. And I think we can all learn that quality of ruthlessness, fearlessness, and relentlessness from this man. Let's get it. Upward Spiral Gang, may we never be the same again. Hit that like and subscribe button, you already know. Let's go.